Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Deep Dive. So today, we're going deep on Coco Gauff. And wow, going through these articles, it's really striking just how much more there is to her story than just, tennis star on the rise.
It's true.
It's like we're witnessing a whole new kind of legacy being built, you know? I mean, beating Venus at Wimbledon at 15.
I know.
Wild, right?
It's incredible.
But it's what she's doing off the court that has me, I don't know, even more fascinated.
Well, and what's fascinating to me is how that early win, as iconic as it was,
Right.
almost foreshadows her whole approach.
Yeah.
You got these articles talking about, the Coco Comet and all that.
Right, like she just exploded onto the scene.
Exactly. Comets burn bright but fast. Gauff's different. Even back then, if you look at the match stats, it wasn't just power. She was strategically picking apart Venus's backhand, forcing errors. That's heady play for a 15-year-old, showing she's in it for the long game, not just the quick win.
Yeah. See, that's the kind of detail I love. I was so caught up in the she beat Venus part that I missed the nuance of how she did it.
And that's consistent. You mentioned the next Serena comparisons, which, let's be honest, are a lot to put on a young player.
Yeah, a lot of pressure.
But Gauff's handling of it is, like textbook, what I advise my clients. Gratitude for the support, but firm boundaries.
Oh, you mean how she keeps saying, Serena, I'm Coco?
Precisely.
Yeah.
But she's not just saying it, she's living it. Her game is different. Serena's built on raw power, overwhelming opponents. Gauff, she's got power, sure, that serve ISO weapons.
Seriously, when I saw that clip from the U.S. Open final you included, the ball was practically a blur.
But paired with that is incredible court coverage. You highlighted her agility in your notes, but what I'm seeing is she's using that not just to defend, but to create attack angles no one expects.
Oh, interesting.
Keeps her opponents off balance, which, as any competitor knows, is half the battle.
Okay, so that makes her U.S. Open win even more impressive now.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, she finally got a Grand Slam. It was proof her style works at the highest level.
100%. And that's the legacy building, right? Not just titles, but a whole new way of playing, of thinking about the game. But then you layer on her off-court stuff.
Yeah, the articles about her activism were really interesting. I mean, some folks are praising her, others are criticizing. Seems like a tough line to walk.
And it is. But look at the specific example you pulled out. Her speech at that Black Lives Matter rally. She doesn't just parrot slogans. She talks about her own experiences, connects it to voting rights.
Yeah.
It's clear, informed, and avoids the preachy athlete trap a lot fall into.
Which honestly makes the pushback even more curious. You'd think that kind of approach would be universally admired.
But this is where Gauff's age comes in. In one of the articles, a sports sociologist argues it's threatening to some because she's upending the shut up and dribble expectation that's been put on athletes, especially young black ones, for decades.
You're right. It is a stark contrast to how things used to be. And given she's only 19, that's got to ruffle some feathers.
But that, to me, is the really compelling part. Gauff isn't just winning matches. She's challenging the whole system of what a tennis star should be. And judging by the fan response you've highlighted, a lot of people are very here for it.
Okay, but even with all that, tennis is a fickle world, right? 1 minute you're on top, the next. Well, these articles about her split with Brad Gilbert and the Nick Kyrgios rumors, that's a whole other level of drama.
It is juicy, isn't it? And the timing, right after that tough French Open loss, makes you wonder.
If she was already thinking about a change, or if the loss pushed her to make a move.
It's hard to say for sure, but you pointed out an interesting detail from one of the articles, a quote from Gilbert, where he says he felt Coco needed someone who could be on the road with her full time, which, given his other commitments, wasn't possible.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. So it might not have been about performance issues, but more about logistics and finding the right fit for this stage of her career.
Exactly. And then you've got the Kyrgios rumors swirling.
Oh, yeah.
I'll admit, when I first saw that, my eyebrows shot up.
Mine too. I mean, Kyrgios is undeniably talented, but controversial might be putting it mildly.
He's definitely a disruptor, both on and off the court. But if we look at it through the lens of Gauff's stated needs, someone who understands the pressure she's under, who can help her navigate the media, and who's willing to challenge the status quo, well, Kyrgios ticks some of those boxes.
Whoa, I didn't think about it like that. He's definitely been outspoken about the challenges of being a young player in the spotlight, and he's never been afraid to, clash with the tennis establishment.
Right. And remember that anecdote you highlighted about Coco's reaction to Nadal's retirement? She didn't just praise his tennis. She talked about his kindness and how he treated people with respect.
Yeah, it was really insightful. It made me think she values character as much as skill, especially in someone she's going to be working with closely.
And who better to understand the importance of kindness in a cutthroat world than someone who's been as publicly criticized as Kyrgios? It might sound counterintuitive, but it could be a perfect match in a weird way.
Okay, so we've got the strategic brilliance, the activism, the potential coaching shakeup. Is there anything this woman can't do? But seriously, I'm curious. With all these different facets to her story, what do you think is the one thing people should be paying attention to as her career unfolds?
For me, it all comes back to that idea we talked about earlier. Coco Gauff is rewriting the playbook on what it means to be a tennis star.
Right.
She's not just chasing titles. She's using her platform to advocate for change, to challenge norms, and to inspire others to do the same.
So it's less about specific wins and more about the overall impact she's having.
Exactly. It's about the way she's changing the conversation both within tennis and beyond. And honestly, that's something that's much bigger than any single trophy.
Okay, that's powerful stuff. But, for someone so young, she's faced her share of setbacks too. That French Open loss was rough, and there'll be more where that came from, I'm sure. How do you see her handling those inevitable bumps in the road?
From what I've seen, she's got a remarkable ability to turn setbacks into fuel.
Oh, interesting.
Remember what you pulled out from that interview after the French Open final?
Yeah.
She didn't dwell on the loss. She focused on what she learned, how she could improve. It's that growth mindset that's going to be crucial as she faces bigger challenges, tougher opponents, and higher stakes.
And it seems like that mindset extends beyond the court, too. It's like she's constantly pushing herself to be better, not just as a player, but as a person.
Absolutely. And that's where her influence as a role model really shines. She's not presenting herself as perfect or invincible. She's open about her struggles, her doubts, her journey of growth. And that's what makes her so relatable, especially to young people who are trying to figure out their own place in the world.
It's that authenticity, that willingness to be vulnerable that makes her message so powerful. It's not just about winning, it's about learning, growing, and using your experiences to make a positive impact.
Exactly. And that's something we can all learn from, whether we're aspiring athletes, activists, or just trying to be better humans.
It's funny, before we started this deep dive, I was mainly focused on Coco's tennis career. But going through these articles with you, I'm struck by how much more there is to her story. It's about talent, sure, but it's also about character, resilience, and using your voice to make a difference.
It's a powerful reminder that we can all be forces for change in our own ways. And honestly, who better to lead the charge than someone who's already defying expectations and rewriting the rules at just 19 years old?
It's exciting, isn't it, to think where she could go, what she could achieve, and how she'll continue to inspire others along the way. You know what's got me thinking is all the stuff we've been talking about, it's from articles, match footage,
Right.
But I bet hearing Coco Gauff speak in her own words, oh, yeah,
Would be even more powerful.
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
You pick up so much more from tone, from the passion in someone's voice. That's why I always encourage my clients to, seek out interviews, speeches.
Like, imagine if we could find a clip of her talking about that Time Woman of the Year award.
Yes.
The articles mentioned she dedicated it to other women. And
Exactly. And not just big names, but her grandmother, a teacher, local activists. It wasn't just a thank you, it was a whole statement about, who she draws strength from.
Right.
Using that directly would be amazing.
Yeah, that's a great point. For anyone listening who wants to go even deeper on Coco Gauff's story, seek out those primary sources. It's one thing to read about her impact. It's another to experience it firsthand through her own words.
I couldn't agree more. And I have a feeling those sources will reveal even more layers to this already fascinating individual. Well, this has been an incredible deep dive. I came in thinking this was just going to be about tennis, but we've covered so much more. Activism, resilience, the power of role models.
It's a testament to how Coco Gauff is more than just an athlete. She's a cultural force, challenging norms and inspiring change at just 19 years old.
And the best part is we're likely just seeing the beginning of her journey. I, for one, can't wait to see what she does next, both on and off the court.
Me too. And I think we can all learn a lot from her approach. The dedication, the willingness to speak up, the commitment to growth. It's inspiring stuff.
Well said. It's been a true pleasure exploring all of this with you.
The feeling is mutual.
And to you listening, thanks for being here for this deep dive into the world of Coco Gauff. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep being inspired by those who are changing the game.